summoned you here for a purpose?
Nobody summons Megatron.
Then it pleases me to be the first.
What is up, my Transformers family? Welcome back to another episode of George Reviews. I am your host, 80s Transformers fan, and today on George Reviews, we'll be taking a look at Transformers Earthrise Haslab Unicron. This is the third installment of this review. The first installment was done as a mystery box. Then we looked at the planet mode, and today I'm going to transform out of planet mode, review the robot mode, and close out this massive undertaking of a review. But before I get started with the transformation, I want to correct myself on something I said in the last part of the review. It was a minor thing, but I still want to correct it. I pointed out that he has 4 slots on each side for figures to go on this little stand, but actually it's 5, so he has 15 slots. And kind of makes you wonder where they're going to give us more figures if it had got like a larger crowdfunding or whatever. And I didn't mention this little stand does have articulation. You can rotate this part around and display it like this. And I think I moved this one, and this has articulation. But it looked like they had a space. I don't think it's just display options. I think they were going to give us more, and for whatever reason they didn't. With this display stand and accessories. And while I'm at it, I do want to critique the accessories. As far as the accessories, I'm assuming these are planet mode accessories, maybe robot mode, but the accessories, the little figures are so tiny and so lackluster that honestly I feel like they could have kept them. I don't know if I got into it in my last review, but they could have kept those. And the shuttle was cool, but it's not much to it. And with that, in my last review, I didn't take a close-up look at the planet mode. So we're going to take a close-up look at the planet mode, the molding in detail, and the paint apps, and then we're going to try to transform this thing. Alright, in the last video, I pointed out the changes to the mall, last-minute changes. But I want to point out some of the detailing on this thing, getting a little bit closer. There are a couple different paint apps. He has like a molded in plastic goldish yellow right here, and then there's a separate yellow paint app going around here, and then these circles like right here, and a whole lot of detail in this mold, just everywhere. So I'm going to try to turn this thing now. Bring it a little bit closer, turn it, look at a few other things. I want to point out that the paint apps on the side circles, to me, are not done as deeply or as richly as they could have been. You can still see the bleed from the gray, because this is like just a spray over, and it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb against the molded in plastic that's supposed to be the matching color. I'm not bummed out about it, but it's kind of noticeable. I wish they would have matched that up a little bit better. He has several paint apps around the planet. Here's some more molded in yellow and some of the little circles. And I kind of think if he was a true planet, these circles would represent cities or something on his planet mode. A couple different paint apps. He has some lighter gray here, lighter gray here. He has some silver on top of the dome. I don't know if that's supposed to represent his polar caps, but silver up there. For whatever reason, he has these. I don't know if those are hinges. I see them. These are like hinges inside. He has these in several places. There's some down here. And turn it around a little bit more. And here's the back. And you can see it here if I don't have too much light on it. Alright, if I don't have too much light on, you can see it here where you have like 3 different plastics going on, or 3 different colors of this orangish yellow. You have the sprayed over paint right here, you have a plastic strip in here, and then you have this separate plastic that comes out to these little spikes, and it's 3 different colors right there. So I'm not complaining about it, I'm just pointing it out, getting a closer look at the planet mode. You can see the gray going around right there. I think it's the same thing on both sides. And again, these spikes continue. I added these. They're soft. And same side. It's the same on both sides. Exactly the same. Pretty much the same. And for what, I don't know if these things lock it into place in robot mode, but he has these little notch things. There's one here, one up here, one over here, and another one right here. Then he has the ports for the blaster effects in several spots on the planet mode. I don't know if I covered that. But yeah, that is the planet mode. And forgive my camera work, but it's a lot to take in. I'm shooting this by myself. And one more time before I take off the lights, I'm going to light this thing up again. And I'm going to turn down some of these lights so you can see how it looks. Also, real quick, I do want to go over articulation in planet mode. Most of it is obvious. You have them all. And it just goes about that far. And the pincers, they can come in this far and all the way out this far. And actually, it would have been cool if they added 2 more hinges so it can actually push food or planets into this part right here. And just so you know, the little teeth right here articulate separate from the gimmick. You can open them up on your own, but it kind of throws off the gimmick and you kind of have to reset them and push them back in to get it to do the gimmick again. And he has a little bit of articulation like right here for what it's worth. I think that's planet mode, but it does do that, and that is it as far as articulation. He's just supposed to look badass as a planet, and he really, really does. It looks great, perfectly spherical. It is awesome. All right, now for the transformation. And the instructions tell me, yes, I'm using the instructions, tell me to remove the planetary rings. And that's kind of sucks because I was hoping it wouldn't be a parts forming at all, because it's kind of sweet when these things stay on. But the instructions say remove the wings or the ring. So I'm going to take that off. There we go. Making it too hard on myself. One side and down here. Go. One ring out. And all right, that was a little bit of a chore. That one was kind of hung up in there. And okay, second ring out. All right, so it's telling me to turn it 90 degrees and pop open this panel. This whole piece right here. All right, instructions are telling me to collapse these panels. I'm reading it correctly. I think I did this correct. I think it looks this awful. All right, then I'm going to repeat the same step on the other side. Make sure I got this on camera. Take this quarter section off. Fold this in, collapse that, and fold that over. Now I'm going to turn it to the back and unpanel the section right here. There we go. And I believe I keep folding it over until I got it onto the top of the planet, or what's left of the planet. But I got this up here, and it's got me turning it back to the front, I believe. All right, while this is on top, oh, nope, back to the back. Alright, got it back to the back, and it wants me to remove the bottom panel under here. Alright, now I have to turn it around because it's got something clicking into place. You turn it around. And the instruction is like right here. You can see it. Something is supposed to click in the place in the front. I think I unpaneled this. Don't want to break this thing. Alright, I'm going to move on to the next step and come back to that. It has me unhinging the spikes. Alright, that comes off right there. Turn to the other side. Repeat that. Don't have much planet to work with. Unplug that, and it came off again on this side over here. Kind of not liking that. Alright, next up, I'm unhinging this piece right here. This is going to hang out right there. Come to this side, same thing. Alright, finally I get to a bit of transformation that does not include the planet mode. Here are the hands that we've seen transform from Transformers the movie. And I truly believe the only bit of transformation that was actually translated from the cartoon into this toy. I'm just going to open these arms up if I can on camera. And here's some tissue paper stuck in there, I guess, to keep the paint from rubbing. So what's going to keep the paint from rubbing in the future? Alright, open up the arms. It has me opening these up. And we can see the legs and the feet. Probably saw those earlier. Alright, it has me rotating these down and snapping these together, but clearly something got missed. I'm gonna get these out of the way. It doesn't tell me to yet. Or maybe I missed it, I don't know. I'm gonna fold these panels up. And the funny thing is, like, when you fold them, they kind of move out of the way. Like I said in the last review, you can kind of feel which way it goes because it's only going one way when you move the panel. Like that just folded up for me. I don't know about this little tiny piece right here, but that kind of folded up for me. And it has the arms coming down. Uh-oh. Somewhere, I guess I'm supposed to rotate this up and out of the way. And this is coming off again. Cause maybe I didn't have it in there right. But these go up out of the way. And these arms come down. Maybe I'll take them around and down. Can. Oh, they swing out and come down. Okay. Ooh, wow, that is like super tight. It's like scary tight. The instructions have the arms facing down at this point, so I'm trying to get to that. Oh, I mean, that is scary. That one wasn't so bad. That side, woo. Right, arms down. We got that. Alright, I think, see if I get this closer. The arm here, the instructions is telling me, if I can get some light on it, to take this right here and plug it in there on both sides at this point. So I'm going to try that. see what happens. Alright, so I'm going to try to snap that into place. And I got panels falling. Alright, I got it. It's pretty easy. Come to this side again and snap that into place. Kind of feels like, it just feels like it's going right to it. And I believe that's in place. Like, that was kind of easy. I'm going to turn around to the back because next up is the leg transformation. Alright, it's got these things out of the way, which are out of the way. And now, alright, I separate the legs. Ugh. Woo. Scary. I don't know if I got that on camera, but I got one side of the legs off. Now to switch over. There we go. All right. All right. Next up, I guess I transform the feet and keep bringing them down. Ooh, it's a lot of planet kibble. I knew it would be, but man, it's like scary. All these pieces hanging down. I'm gonna get back on this side and bring this leg down. Man, that's some beefy legs under here. Alright, it's got me putting the legs all the way in the front. I guess like in a standing position. And I apologize for the camera work. This thing is massive. And I'm not that good with a camera anyway. I really hope the next step is lock some of these panels into place. Uh-oh. The whole front just came apart. So I'm going to start to turn it so you can see what just happened. And it's absolutely astounding that he's like still propped up on a stand with all this going on. Kibble and stuff everywhere. This is a lot of kibble. Alright. I'm going to turn the page. Alright, yeah, I guess that's where we're at. Back over here. And now we're going to fold this back over the top. And I think we rotate this around at this point. Uh-oh. Something like this. Sorry if I'm... Alright, what I did, I took all that up and it's going down. Uh-oh. And I got like all this kibble back here now. If I'm putting it away correctly. I think this is how it goes. Right, here is, I'm going to light off of this. Here's a diagram. The panels all on the back and kind of looks like it's right. Doesn't feel like it's right, but it looks like it's right. Alright, now I'm going to rotate this part. I think I'm supposed to already have done this. Rotate this part up. Both sides. And now this thing right here, this piece right here is supposed to go in right here. See if I can get that done and lock on this backpack. And I think I missed the butt flaps under here. Right here, they need to come down. I'm losing my kibble. Alright, let's try this again. The 8 inches of kibble is now in place. Yeah, we got that part. Let's see what's next. Alright, finally it's got me locking the leg kibble into place. Alright, the most challenging part of this is the freaking kibble. I'm assuming it's just... Wait, I got 2 pieces. Where's this damn thing go? Alright, I think this holds down some of my kibble. Alright, I had to stop for a second. I realized I was working too hard. The little tabs that I show in the planet mode, these things actually hold together the panels. And I was just like, I guess trying not to break it and not putting the pieces together. But they're like little tabs that just hold it together for you. And now this is like one piece. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And I guess I should have did it with the other panel too. I think I actually jammed some of this together by accident. Like I said, it will go, it moves how you think it should move without having like true knowledge of the transformation. It just does. And yeah, all these pieces have little panels or little notches that hold it together. And the funny thing is, like I said, some of it just went together on its own, which is cool, like a little bit of automorphing. Because of the way the hinges are, it just went together on its own. Now, maybe I should have did that with this backpack. I don't see too many hinges for this thing. Alright, I'm trying to stuff this back here, but it doesn't go here. It comes to the front. On a big double hinge. I'm moving this piece down. Alright, I'm going to try to turn the leg because there are some pegs right here. I got them. And there is some ports right here, and this mess has to come all the way over here to this. And that is locked in, and this little piece right here, it just closes over. And now for this bit of kibble, alright, there is a port right here and a hole right there. I'm assuming this goes together. Oh, and this part right here double hinges down. I just saw that. And now to... Alright, I'm not sure if this panel folds in or folds out. It seems like I can push it better, fold it out, and I'll go from there. And it snaps in, fold it out. And I think this panel right here comes over and holds this stuff into place. I think I'm going to leave it like this for now. I'll rotate this leg back forward. And come over here and repeat the beat on this side. Take this part here and hinge it on here and lock it into place. Oh, let's get that back. Put that on there, fold that in there. Alright, I just did it. Should be able to remember this. Lock that into place. So I guess I locked this side into place with the panel in place. So I'm gonna have to go back and change it on the other side. Yeah, I don't know, that this little piece hangs out a little bit, but this is mostly it. We're getting there. I'll make corrections once I finish. All right, we're gonna bring the camera up. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm going totally off instruction. Like once I see it and I can feel it, I just try to go for it. I'm going to bring this arm forward. Alright, now I'm going to transform the hands. I think these slide back. Now that's cartoon accurate to reveal the hands. Okay, I had to unfold the hands. So, alright, now it locks. Fingers out, fingers out. Come over this side. I think I got the shoulders correct at this point. I'll check it out in a second. Open the fingers and continue to push this back till it locks. There we go. And I think they rotate forward. Rotate these forward. Alright, now for the planetary ring. Alright, this one piece has to make 3 rings. Alright, this goes in at the shoulder. Alright, I'm working too hard. This part rotates up like this. And this little piece comes down right here. Alright, this piece goes in here. I knew it snapped somewhere. I'm just trying to get it in there and get it over with. I got to get this into the arm. There's some grooves. I got to follow the grooves right here. Alright, and rotate this whole part down. And we have the look on this side. I got this dang on part right. See if I can remember what I just did with the ring. Alright, this is going to be the top. Alright, this plugs into the arm. I'm going to rotate this down. Move that around like that. I got it in. Then this, wait, all right. This part tabs into here, and all right, to get this final thing plugged in, it goes like this. All right, now rotate it around. I did that right, or maybe, you know what? Plugs into the back. That part. Oh man, that is a lot, and it is hot. These lights don't help. Jeez. So this is the body of Unicron. Think I got everything right. So all right, last but not least, Unicron's head. And there are some little plugs right here and some plugs at the top of his chest, and I'm assuming it just snaps on like that. Easy peasy. Alright, I'm finna take a time out, get a cold drink, and probably finish this tomorrow. But for you guys, it'll be like 2 seconds. Alright, got them all Transformers. Before I start to mess with the figure, we're gonna go in and take a closer look at all the molded in detail and all the work that Haslab put into this figure. So let's get a closer look. This guy has a ton of molded in detail. I stated in the last video, all over the horns alone, in the face, the sides of the head or helmet. Tons and tons of panel work on the shoulders, the chest area, the abdomen, the waist, the thighs, the lower legs, just detail everywhere. Even though the wings has some hollowing in it, it's still loaded with detail. And I know they hollowed it out to save plastic and keep it from being so heavy where it just didn't drag down the arms. Even though the arm ratchets appear to be very, very strong, but there's a ton of molded in detailing. And as amazing as this figure is, I would be wrong to try to ignore the ton of kibble on his back. And I knew getting the figure, I saw the prototypes, I seen the figure from every angle. I knew what I was getting when I got the figure. But just to see this massive stack of panels on his back is kind of, you know, you can't ignore it. And I don't mind so much the kibble on his legs, but that pack behind his head and on his back, that looks bad. You know, I mean, obviously it's not a deal breaker, but it looks bad. Okay, after taking a quick look at Unicron 360 around his body, almost forgot about these little screw hole covers on this tree right here. They go into, I know they go into these holes right here. There's 8 holes right here. I'm thinking it's the reverse on this arm to fill up these little holes. So I'm going to stop and do that and come back. All right, now we come to the part that I've been looking forward to because I really want to see what this guy can do. I'm going to run down Unicron's articulation in his robot mode. I'm going to start at the head. Unicron can look to his left this far and to the right, the equal opposite. And it's about as much as a humanoid being can anatomically look realistically. His head won't 360 because of the hinge that's holding on to all the back kibble. He can look up this far. Just side view so you can see how much that is. And that's about it. That's a little bit disappointing. And again, his head is hitting that same hinge. Wish he can look a little bit further up in case if some way I could get him into like a flying motion or just for some photos like he's approaching Cybertron. And down it is not at all. I think it's just a hair. I think this is straight and then that's down. And that's all you can get. That's a little bit disappointing. They didn't give enough room or a long enough neck to get more range out of that. So we're going to take a look at his left arm. Unicron's left arm, very heavy ratchet joint. It can come up this far. It's hitting the horn, knocking the head loose. You can come up this far. I can tell it will 360 without all this stuff in the way. And I'm losing this ring. And I noticed during moving this figure around just to look at the other side, that where the ring plugs in at, this ring tends to fall out a lot. And it should be a little bit tighter. It's just held in there on a friction joint. And I know I can build it up, but man, with this much money, they should have made sure that thing stayed on there for posing this figure. And in robot mode, you just gotta pose this figure. He just can't stand there like a soldier. But back to the articulation, like I said, it will most likely 360 completely if you did the work and moved all the pieces out of the way. And you can just hear that ratchet going on. All right, and then also in the shoulder, chest area, he can ratchet out to the side. This much was a lot. I was not expecting this. I thought he could almost just go front and back. I was not expecting this. I'm loving that they put this in here. And you can see the grooves right here where the teeth ratchet in at to make it a really strong ratchet. And I can't wait to see what type of Transformers he can actually hold in the air. Because a lot of the Titan figures, if you put a figure in their hands to hold, they just drop down. But I think this guy, by the sound of the ratchets, can hold almost any Transformer that I have in his hands. And I will put that to the test. All right, moving on. But staying in the shoulder area, the wings. The wings just plug in and they can rotate around however you want it. And they actually rotate at the shoulder, not out here. They rotate at the shoulder. This whole piece turns. And there's that wing coming off again. Bat demon hellish wing. Yeah, I don't like that. And continue with the arm. He has a bicep swivel right here. And there's a lot of kibble with these spikes come around this far. But you can get it to 360 if you worked at it and tried to do it with all this stuff in the way and everything back here. And then he has an elbow bend that allows 45 degrees, which is enough for a figure like this, which is good. There is that wing falling off again, which brings us to his wrist and hand area. His hand will 360 at that wrist, which is cool, but sadly enough, they didn't put in a rocker, which I don't get that. I mean, I would have loved to have had that. I mean, it doesn't add that much, but then it does. For bigger figures, he tried to get his hand around. If he's holding something like Cybertron, something like that, you want that in there. And they didn't put it in there. And then coming to his fingers, he has more than MP level articulation in his fingers, which is very good. He can bend at 3 different points on each finger, and each one moves independently, and each joint moves independently as well. You can move it here, then here, then here, then the whole finger can fold away. Same thing, all the joints move independently, which is cool. The Unicron's thumb, it is on a ball joint and a hinge joint right here. It can move up and down, and it can rotate at that ball joint. But what I'm disappointed in, hopefully you can see it, that the thumb does not rotate down at this joint. So he almost has this, I would say, weapon holding slot right here all the time. Like, you have to turn this thumb like this to get it down, I guess, which is good enough to make a fist. Or I don't even know if it can go over the fist. Let's see, let's check it out. Fold his fingers away. And his fingers look very cool, by the way. Very well done. And I guess you can kind of get that over there. So it's not that bad, but I still wish I had that joint in there for that, and especially with the lack of wrist articulation. And so that is that. I'm going to get his arm out of the way. And we're going to take a look at his waist. There is no ab crunch, and I doubt there would have, especially with the design right here and the backpack. Let's check out his waist articulation. And it is on a heavy ratchet. That is surprising. And I have to get out of the way to continue to turn it around. And I believe it will 360. It's just so much stuff in my way. I'm not going to keep going around. I'm going to put it back. I got to reach way around the wings. And it's just awesome. Look at the bloom of his arms and the wings. Like wow, this is huge right here. Oh, I got a tape measure. Let's see how far apart that is. Yeah, sorry about the tape measure. No, I never try to go full geek. But let's check it out. All right, this measures 3 feet and 9 inches across with his arms spread out. And I'll probably get him a little bit higher than that, but that is one hell of a bloom and spread right there. And continuing on to his upper thigh, these panels raise up. And I'm going to go for this leg. Might be better for the camera. Bring it forward. And now, this ratchet doesn't sound as tight, but the leg is holding as I stop to critique it. But you think they would have put, and his arm's dropping, you think they would have put the most powerful ratchet in the legs. And he can get it up this far. Is that showing you? Can you see that? Get that leg up this far. Let's check it out from the side. All right, while we got it up, rotates. I dare say it 360. But nope, it's hitting the crotch right here, but it has enough in there to do a 360, except it's hitting that crotch. See if we can get it out to the side now. I see the ratchet. Sideways. He can't hold this too much kibble, but he can get it out to the side. And I'm trying to let it go gently, so maybe hoping it'll lock at one of these points, but no, that's it. It locks like right there. Coming back to the leg again, to the knee. He bends at the knee. See how far we can get it out to the front. That as much as we can get out of that knee. And his foot. Let's see, there's a nice rocker there. You can get a nice wide stance with this. But it only rocks the one way, doesn't rock the other way. And it has a toe articulation, but I don't think the whole foot pedals forward or back. Like the entire foot. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is, we got it. The ratchet's this far forward. And let's see if we get any back. I'm not feeling the back. Try it again. I think maybe a little bit back, or maybe I put it in the same position, but that's basically it for his articulation. Well, that's mostly it for his articulation. I still want to see what he can do without the stand, because he's still on this stand. He's stuck on the stand. I'm kind of worried I might not be able to get it off the stand because he hasn't budged off of that stand. And then I showed you the skirts pop up, and on this side as well. And spin them around in the back. If it wasn't for the wings and the kibble, the back skirts were Grimlock kicks, but they move back and forth as well. And I must say, I really think this figure is fantastic. It has its flaws, like with the backpack, and the ratchets could have been a little bit stronger, but he's carrying around a lot of kibble. But this thing is amazing. I'm so happy to be doing this review. I'm so happy just to have it, to own it. Like, man, and I'm just trying to be honest about everything that's going on with it, but I still, even with the flaws, I love this thing. It is incredible. It's a lifetime dream come true. 35 years now. 35-year dream actually come true. Actually have a real Unicron. Okay, while I was going over the head articulation, I forgot one of the most important things is his mouth opens and closes, which is very cool. I went over it in the other review, but since he's in bot mode, still has a head. I'm going to go over it again. And while we're at the head, I want to demonstrate the interchangeable faceplate and chin. All right, to remove the faceplate, he has like slits on the side where you got to try to get your fingers in the groove, which kind of sucks because it's painted over. You saw my last video. It's not great plastic, and you can wind up scraping that off over time, swapping it out. And you can take the battle damaged end of the movie head and put it on. They should have gave us a completely separate head because the horns were damaged as well. You can see the eyes are cracked. He has holes in his face, and it really looks good. Also, you can go a step further because of the changing animation in the movie. He was drawn with the split in his chin and with the gray divot dividing his chin. So depending on which part you liked or how anal you are about the movie scene and movie accuracy, they gave us that. And you can do that. I think I may like that one better. I think that's my head now. All right, speaking of choices that they gave the fans, the other day or earlier in this review, depending on your perspective, I brought up the fact that there's room for more figures. And there's an opposite side to the stand where you can put the shuttle. Now, this isn't just a choice where you can put the figures. One of the guys from Haslab was saying that there are more pieces to this on the way. So I think now, I joked about it earlier, but we're probably going to get the Quintesson shuttle to go here and other small figures to go on here. Can't remember the video I was watching, but it was a guy from Haslab saying that somewhere, some way down the line, we were going to get figures to put on this stand. So I'm really excited about that. All right, everybody, now we're coming to the end of the review, and it's time for the size up and rundown. And the first toy I want to bring out is Takara's retool of Armada's Unicron to look more like the Generation 1 Unicron. See how these guys scale? There's no comparing these two as far as cartoon accuracy and scale and detailing. All right, next up, I want to bring up Mega Action Optimus Prime, non-transforming 18-inch Optimus Prime. Coming to the size up and rundown next is Titans Return Devastator, one of my favorites, being dwarfed by the new King. All right, sticking with the Decepticon and Titans theme, here is Tripticon. And one more big bad Titan is Transformers Earthrise Scorponok, another beautiful figure. All right, next up, coming to the size up and rundown is the former largest Transformer in the world, still reigning largest G1 Transformer in the world, Fortress Maximus! Next up on the size up and rundown is a Transformer that needs no introduction. He kicked off the entire Titans class figures, leading up to the figure of Unicron that we see before us. One-time reigning, dethroning Fortress Maximus as largest Transformer in the world. Transformers Generation Metro Base! Next up on the size up and rundown, coming in last but not least, is the Transformer that dethroned Metroplex as largest Transformer in the world, reclaiming the title in his brother's namesake of Fortress Maximus. Unfortunately, he had the shortest reign of largest Transformer in the world. Transformers Titans Return, Fortress Maximus! Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you your reigning heavyweight champion of the world, largest Transformer ever created, Haslab Unicron! Alright, Transformers family, to close out this review, I want to give a final critique and tell you what I don't like and what I do like about the toy. I'm going to start about the things that I don't like. The wings on the arms, this little piece right here, if you can see that from this distance, it comes out too easily when you move it around. And he's such a big toy, and the ratchet joints are so strong on the arms that it's always coming loose. And I'm going to build up the joint in there. It's a friction joint, and I'm going to make it thicker so it sticks in there better, but I shouldn't have to do that. And I do want to complain about that before I tell you how much I love the figure. So I don't like that. And I knew I was getting into with the kibble. The kibble, I understand it. I get it. And it's not so bad to me on the legs. If it was just the legs, I wouldn't have any complaint at all. But like I said, I knew we were going to have the kibble. I saw the pictures and I understood it, and I wanted this figure anyway. But this is kind of bad. It's a lot of it. And I think the problem is, if I could just pull it loose a little bit, I think the big why we have the kibble is the maw. Because of this feature, this action feature, because of this feature, it really had no place to go. So we were going to have this square somewhere on the toy. And I think somewhere in designing it, someone was like, well, let's just have it all keep folding up. And I think this cool feature in planet mode cost us in robot mode. I think this is the cause of all of this stuff, because we were going to have this square. Everybody, my third complaint as far as the design choices go are the hands. The lack of a wrist hinge, which kind of bugs me. A figure this scale, this size, you want to give them a wrist hinge because you want to pose them and take pictures and just have them holding smaller figures. And I think that really would have helped. And then the paint application. They went with a silver on the back of the hand. And when you turn it over, you can see the bluish gray plastic in the palm. And then they didn't continue on to paint the rest of the fingers. The fingers are molded in gray plastic. They should have picked and chose one of the two. Either went totally gray molded or spray painted the whole hand, the fingers included. Even the thumb has a gray paint app on it and then has the gray plastic. And you can see the blue plastic on it. I mean, it's not a huge gripe, but why did they do that? I have no clue. And my fourth and final complaint is the lack of accessories with this mammoth of a figure and things they could have did in place of accessories. Like, we got the little ship is cool, and maybe the little Galvatron is cool, and Hot Rod. From what I understand, they actually shrunk these figures down at fans' request, and they wound up losing paint apps after they shrunk it for whatever reason. The interchangeable faceplate, it's cool. But it's not the greatest of accessories. I would have wanted more. I would have wanted a completely different head, which rolls me into my Transformer wants. What I wish they had done with this figure. Like, he should have had light up eyes. Definitely. Maybe two heads, one to light up, one doesn't light up. We really needed that. And speaking of light up eyes, we got light up eyes with the previous versions of Unicron. Like this guy. I don't know if you can see it under these lights. I actually swapped out his eyes and made them green because I was so obsessed with this figure. And another wish or want that I feel like they should have done with this figure, he should have had a voice feature. He should have had at least 7 voice clips. He should have had the voice clip when he first spoke to Megatron, when he says the famous line, "I've summoned you here for a purpose." Megatron responds, "Nobody summons Megatron." Then he says, "It pleases me to be the first." We should have had that. We should have had "You are to destroy the Autobot Matrix." And we definitely should have had, behold, Galvatron, Cyclonus, the Warrior, Scourge, the Tracker, his Huntsman, the Sweeps. We should have had those lines. You underestimate me, Galvatron. And even though he didn't say it, we should have had, Obelisk, look, it's Unicron. And also, it's not a line, but a soundbite that should have been in there. The opening sequence of the movie when he's flying through space and he's passing through the twin suns and we hear that music playing. That should have been inside this figure to truly cap it off as the greatest Transformer of all time. And I believe that it is the greatest Transformer of all time. So I'm going to move over into that discussion. Most G1 Transformer fans have waited for Unicron for an eternity, 35 years. And I've purchased several over the years. I've actually owned like most of the versions of Unicron over the years. I had the black one from Armada. I sold it off. This is my original from, 20 years ago now. My 5-year-old son plays with it. It's missing some pieces. So I chased down this figure. It lights up. Or it used to anyway. This figure, I also had the United States version at one point in time. There were 2 United States versions of this guy with the Generation 1 accurate head, as opposed to the Armada version. And I had the first release. I don't think one of them was Amazon. They may have both been Amazon exclusives, but as you can see, I've been looking forward and been a fan of Unicron for a long time. He's one of the most iconic character from all of Transformers lore. And he's not even an Autobot Decepticon faction. He's his own independent entity. And speaking of which, at one point in the Transformers continuity, Unicron was the exact same being across all continuities. Like whether it was Robots in Disguise, More Than Meets the Eye, Beast Wars, whatever universe of Transformers existed, Unicron and Primus were the exact same being across all continuities. Even Shattered Glass. You went to the Shattered Glass universe, he was still bad, and he was still the same Unicron mentally. And they had a connection to every single Transformer universe. And then at some point the writers of Hasbro did away with that, so people coming out with movies or different properties can operate independently and not be tied to that. But I thought it was cool having that little story. And you can still do all type of different things with it and still have that exist. Alright, enough of that. I want to talk about people trying to compare that Studio Cell or Zeta Toys Unicron to this thing. There is no comparison. I do not own that figure, but I've seen the reviews, I've seen the video. It can't compare to the stature of this thing. This thing is absolutely beastly. It is the most grand thing in my Transformer. This is a modern day holy grail. And if people missed out on it because they whined and cried, like, shame on you. You should have got this figure, especially when it was $700. People were paying $450 for Zeta Toys, which is a fake Unicron. And like, it's like close to this scale. They were paying like $400 and then saying, well, 7's too much. You know, and this thing is more than double the size. And it's actually better. There's some things that Zeta Toys does better, like it performs a cleaner transformation. It doesn't have the backpack, but it fails in a lot of areas. This is a grail piece, a conversation piece. When you walk in and see this thing, I had it on display for a couple of days because it took me a while to do this review, and people walk in and just shocked and like, damn, that thing is big. And it is. It's an instant modern day grail, and I can't say it enough. Zeta Toys doesn't even come close to being a grail. It's just another toy in your collection, like these guys. Cool Unicron, but not a grail piece. And I do not say that lightly. I am a grill piece guy. And I brought out a couple of my grills, so I don't want you to think I'm just talking outside of my head. Here's Fire Guts God's Jinrai. I'm very proud to own this. They didn't make a ton of them. This thing is rare. It's not that expensive, but it's pretty expensive, and it is super rare. I brought out, this is another grill piece of mine that I'm proud to own that you don't find in your everyday collection. This is Black Zerg. This thing is complete and mint in the box. None of my plastic is broken. And I'm telling you, this is a more grander toy piece. Hell, I can't even take this out without fear of it breaking. So this is a much greater and holy grail piece that people are just passing on. Now I want to bring out another one of my grail pieces. And I bring these out to show you what I consider a grail piece to a toy collection that you don't find in everyday collection. And this, to me, tops a figure like Grand Maximus. I'm going to move Grand Maximus over. I'll show you a couple more figures that I was excited to get and happy to have in my collection. This is Shining Magnus. I've never opened it. I do plan on opening it and reviewing this actually. But this is very rare. I think it was limited to 800 pieces. This is a grail piece of my collection. And another one I never thought I would get. It is the Canadian version of Pepsi Prime. This is only some of my grail pieces. And I bring these out to show you that I have these pieces when I'm calling this a grail piece. This is the modern day grail. This was available to everybody who wanted to purchase it through Haslab. And it was like $700. And people actually paid $450 for that studio sale, which I don't get it. This is a showstopper. This is when someone walks into your collection room, or if you're filming your collection room, this will draw everybody's eye. And that's what displaying the collection is. To have the ability to have anyone who enters your showroom to just drop their jaw. And this is it. And I don't see that studio sale Zeta toy. It's just another piece in your collection. This is a crowning achievement. Shame on anybody who missed out on it. Shame on everybody that tried to hate on it. It has its flaws, but it's the greatest Transformer of all time, in my opinion. And I want to thank real quick before I go, I want to give a shout out to Graham the Collector 75. One of the greatest G1 reviewers out there. I want to give a shout out to T-Man978. Love his videos. Also, Retro Blasting. Love that channel. Keeps me informed, keeps me updated. And also, Rodimus Primal. So check those channels out if you ever get a chance. And I am out of here.